Hi, this is Shay Veronica. There's a petition going around in Barbados talking about the rights of parents to raise their children within the belief and value system that they have. And that in and of itself may be a problem, okay? May be a big problem because there are many parents in Barbados who do not like their kids. They care nothing about their children. Their parents who support apartheid education. They were talking in the video about, providing your child with the best education as they see fit. But what they see as being fit is an apartheid type of education. They talk about values. There are many, many, many parents in Barbados who pimp their kids out. And they pimp their kids out hoping that the guy that they pimp their child out to will throw money through the window so they can buy food or pay a bill here or there. There are some parents in Barbados who abuse their kids verbally, physically, morally meaning sexually. The child is abused over and over and over again. Okay? And there are some people who decide to have that child just so they can have a means of support, child support. They're hoping that, they can put the guy in court or the guy has been at a job long enough so they can get child support. And that is an income for them, not the child, for them. So there's a large percentage of children in Barbados who are being abused. Incest is rampant. Pedophiles are all over the place. There's a systemic pattern of mental illness in a way. And I say that to point to the Stockholm syndrome kind of thing you have going on there in Barbados, where, let's say, for example, a child is being abused by the father and the father dies. Whatever reason the father dies, you will see that child at the funeral crying, wanting to faint, wanting to jump into the hole where they're going to put the coffin, and the mother, knowing what the father was doing, knowing that, she too would be crying and trying to throw herself in the hole where the coffin is going into. There's that Stockholm syndrome that they identify with their abusers. It's something that is systemic in Barbados. Now let's talk about the others who may think that, I love my kids, and this new constitution that is coming about, they hope that Mia Motley leaves certain things intact, like the health, so that the parents can make decisions concerning the health of their children, or the health care, and the educational rights that these parents have. But like I said before, a lot of things are skewed in Barbados. A lot of your thinking is skewed, and it is skewed by the length of time you stayed in slavery. You're not going to want to hear this. I know it, but I'm saying it anyhow because someone sent me the video, and there's a petition because they think that maybe with the new constitution may come a part in there where kids can seek to do something to themselves in terms of health. Maybe, if they're pregnant, they can go and get that day after pill or whatever it is. These parents are up in arms because they don't want their children to have that authority to do it without their knowledge, when in truth and in fact, children do things outside of the knowledge of their parents all the time. If their parents were to go into the place where the buses are, the bus stands, and see or hear their children, if there were cameras that they can actually zone in on each and every kid and show the parent how their children are behaving, if they were to attach a camera to the back sack or the bag sack or the back sack, whatever you call it, whatever backpack, if you were to attach a video or a camera on the lapel of your child's uniform without them knowing, or on their shoe or on their belt that they wear, if you were to do that, you would be shocked out of your mind at the things your children do when they're not within your direct gaze. Okay, so when you hear these people in Barbados talking about their rights and their beliefs, and that's another thing, that belief thing. What do they believe in? They certainly don't believe in God. So when you talk about freedom to raise your kids within a certain belief, what belief is that? Is that Christianity? Because most of you, over 90% of you have had kids outside of wedlock. So is it that's not Christianity, because the Bible talks about being married before you do that. So when you talk about belief, and I think you're going into the religious arena when you talk about beliefs, what is your belief? What do you hang your hat on in terms of beliefs? This, it's not really a Christian nation. And you're going to know coming up when crop over is there, how many abortions they're going to have, how many sexually transmitted disease have been transmitted. Things happen in Barbados that prove over and over again that you're not a Christian nation. You don't like your kids because too many things are prevalent and rampant in Barbados for you to actually like your kids. And it's replete with things that is all pointing in one direction. Maybe you should reconsider having children because you really can't afford to have them. You really cannot afford to have children and raise them poor, because most of them are born and raised in poverty. So when I see this, I think what I just said. When you say this, you have to say that. And I cannot take a Barbadian seriously when they start to talk about issues and they will have a leader. For instance, they will follow after someone that has had a child kidnapped and raping the child. The person may have been a counterfeiter that put so much money out there that people could not get back from the central bank or the banks. The banks don't care when you take counterfeit money, and the taxi drivers and other people who had this money was working with this particular person. When you see that people could know that someone is a fraud, someone is a counterfeiter, someone is a rapist, when you can, and everything, and they can still be a soldier to this person, it calls everything into gaze. You put yourself out there for people to give you the side eye. You have to understand that people are giving you the side eye, because when you take photos and put them up on social media and we see you standing behind a rapist or a fraudster, you're just like him. You're just like him. If you're standing behind a rapist and you're a soldier to a rapist, you're just like that person. So when I see these things, I cannot help but think that it's a joke. It's a joke. Mia Mottley and what she's doing with the Constitution, when it happens, it happens. When whatever happens under the Mia Mottley-led administration, when it happens, and we have to wait to see how it's taken by the taxpayers and how that would be voted. You know, you show by your vote if you're happy with what she's doing or not. So you will see in the next election how happy you are with what happened. And if you're not happy, the next party that comes in can amend. They can do their amendment to, or amendments to, whatever you don't like. But let's see what happens, because As it is, Barbadians birth their children in poverty, and whatever they say about their rights as parents and their rights to provide health care and their rights to choose the education, and whatever they're saying is met with and should be met with a side eye, because you are not known to love your children. You just make a noise and you just behave like a wound up doll. You are like a robot. You're like something that is mechanical. You think you're supposed to act a certain way because that child came out of you, and you behave, you perform that way because you think that's the way you're supposed to behave. But if you really love kids, if you really loved something, you will not birth it into poverty. You will not bring it into a bad situation. You will wait until you are rightly situated before you decide to present that thing into reality. So pass me with this, okay? It's Shay Veronica.